Shabbat Shalom, my friends. Let's sing Shabbat in together. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. It's time to light the candles again. It's that special moment that we divide between the work day, the work week, and the special day of rest. Help me take in the light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat. There they are, those beautiful candles with that beautiful light. Okay. Reminding us of, when Moses was at the burning bush, and the bush kept burning, but it didn't burn up. And he said, I have to turn aside and see this wondrous sight, that the bush is burning and it doesn't burn up. And God came out of a voice came out of the bush and said to him, take your shoes off your feet, for the ground on which you stand is holy. And God told him he was going to have to go to Egypt and bring the Israelites out. And Moses said, I can't do that. I don't know how. I can't talk very well. And God said, I will be with you. That's what these lights are saying to us. I will be with you. We remind ourselves every week. Let's bring the angels in. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Lai 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 Lai, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. Come Come in peace, you messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, from the Blessed Holy One, the source of all life. Come and bless us in peace, and when you leave, depart in peace. That's what we ask of the angels. Now we get to dance with the bride. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Wait a minute. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el ham-yuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. L'shem tiferet v'litchila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. There's this moment where we come and we meet the bride. We have that special interface, that moment of realizing it's Shabbat, and we welcome her inside. We welcome her inside. I'm going to read to you from Psalm 91, a little part of it. The righteous shall flourish like palm trees, grow tall like cedars in Lebanon. Rooted in the house of Adonai, in the courtyards of our God, they will bear fruit. Still fruitful in old age, they remain ever fresh and green, proclaiming that Adonai is just, our rock, whom we don't always understand, our rock in whom there is no wrong. Tzadik ha'amachar yifrach, ke'erez bavanon yizkei, shetulim bevet Adonai, bechatzot Elohinu yafrichu. Od yenuvon beseva, deshenim v'ra'nanim iyu, lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. Well, I'm really glad that you came back this week to hear some more of the story of Moses and the Israelites. Because last week we left off at like it was a sad place. The people had worshipped the golden calf, and God got really angry, and then Moses got really angry and smashed the tablets written by the finger of God. And everybody was really depressed. It was a bad time. Have you ever had a bad time in your life? This was a really bad time. It got a little better toward the end of the portion last week when Moses went and talked. He said, God, please show me yourself. And God says, you can't see my face, but you'll see my afterness. Remember that part? And so the end, it ends a little bit better. Moses being reassured that God is not going to abandon the people, not going to abandon him. But still, it's a hard time. So this week, Moses gathers all the people. Then the name, there's a double portion this week, Vayakhel-Pikude. And Vayakhel means Moses gathered all the people, thousands of people, for a kind of a town hall meeting. And the first thing he says to him, he says, you have to remember Shabbat and keep it holy, and you must rest and cease from doing any labor on Shabbat. What a great gift is that, huh? Isn't that great? You don't have to be productive all the time. You get one day where you can, as my friend used to say, it's not only a good idea, it's the law, the Jewish law. Okay, so he reminds the people about taking Shabbat off from working too hard. And then the next thing he does is he does this amazing thing. But it includes a lot of work. He says, okay, we're going to build the traveling sanctuary that will go with us in our travels through the desert. A special tent of that's going to be kadosh, holy, and we call it the Mishkan, which means a dwelling place. It's a dwelling place for God. Wow. So Moses is talking to all the people, and he says, but we need a lot of things to build this. We're going to need gold and silver and copper, and we're going to need people who can fashion, candlesticks, and we're going to need weavers who can spin all the wool in beautiful colors, purple and scarlet and blue, and make the garments for the priest. And there's lots and lots of brocade curtains. That's a lot of work. And they have to spin the linen for the warp for all these beautiful textiles. And they have to get stones that they can set in the special breastplate for the priest, polish the stones, and they need oil they didn't have candlesticks. They didn't do wax. They did oil with wick in it. So they needed oil. Now, in order to get oil, you know what you have to do? You got to pick olives, and then you have to crush them somehow between rocks, crush them, and then squeeze until the oil comes out. So they needed olive oil for the lights, and olive oil for anointing the priest. They put a little bit on the priest's head, and on his ear, and his right thumb and forefinger, and right foot, and earlobe. They needed oil. And then they needed all kinds of special aromatic plants that smelled fragrant for the incense, because they offer incense for a pleasing odor to God, a pleasing fragrance. And they also needed these special aromatic plants to flavor the oil for the anointing of the priest. A lot of stuff. Oh, and they need boards. They need wood and boards, and they need people who know how to spin and weave and embroider and do woodwork and craft things. So he's telling them we need all these things. And then the next thing it says, this beautiful verse, said, all the wise-hearted people, all the people whose hearts moved them to bring a donation, brought things for the making of the Mishkan, the sanctuary in the desert. And all the people who were wise-hearted, which I think means skilled and talented in doing all these crafts, they came to start the work of building the Mishkan. And they had a guy named Betzalel and his helper Oholiav, who organized all the work. So imagine this, they had the whole camp of Israelites involved in a huge project, everybody working together for the same goal, to build a beautiful, most precious sanctuary out of the most special things they could find, to invite God in for a dwelling place for God. Wouldn't you like to be part of a project like that? Huh? To be able to make something for God's house? Who wouldn't want to be part of a project? Well, by the end of this week's portion, the people weren't depressed anymore because they had some wonderful thing to devote themselves to. And they worked together with their neighbors and their family. And even the little children could gather plants and tease the wool to get the brambles out. You know, there was a job for everyone. And not only that, it was a way for the people to say, we're sorry, God, for thinking that a molded calf was our God. We made a terrible mistake. And instead, we're going to devote ourselves to you, God. And we're actually working to make this place where you can dwell. So it's kind of a two-way thing. The people were making a place for God to dwell, but God gave them a task to help them feel better, to bring them up out of their depression and find a way to go forward. And from then on in the Torah, the traveling Mishkan, they could pack it all up. They'd take the curtains down and pack it all up, take the boards apart. It was, take apart and put together. Very cleverly designed. So they could travel with it, and had poles for carrying. And when they were settled down, they undid the boxes and took the things out and set it all up again. So it was a very special traveling tent. And that's the gift that the people made for God, and the gift that God gave the people to have something important to do with their time and their life and their talent. And that's a really good lesson for us to learn, that when we can find a way to contribute something, we feel like our lives are important. Will you sing with me? Oh, say shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Aren't you glad you came this week to hear this part of the story? Huh? Well, I'm feeling kind of more filled up from hearing that part of the story again, and I hope you are too. And when we feel filled up and spilling over with joy and gratitude and spirit, we like to spread it around to people who might need some healing, who are not feeling so full. And I'd like you to think of people who might need some healing and say their names. And if you can't remember their name, can try and remember their face. And I'm going to ask you to help me with something this week. My friend knows someone who was in a very terrible accident, motorcycle accident, who got thrown from his motorcycle and pinned under a car, and he's very ill. And his name is Ben Capiello. And I'm going to ask you to pray for him with me as we sing this song. And of course, the people that you're mentioning as well. We'll pray for all of them together. Okay. Mi sheberach avotinu mekor habracha limotinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotinu mekor habracha lavotinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Thank you. I hope all those people that we held in our hearts could feel our care and our love and our blessing for them. Thank you. Now I know that some people may be wanting to say Kaddish. There might be someone in your family whose anniversary, their yahrzeit you're commemorating, or maybe even somebody knows someone who died recently. So please bring those people to mind. And it's always a good idea to say their names out loud. Okay, and we'll say Kaddish for them. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach leolam ul'almei almayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. So we celebrate Shabbat with a little something special to drink, a little grape juice or wine, and we'll lift up our cups. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hakafen. L'chaim. And we always thank God for bringing forth sustenance from the earth. It's a miracle we don't think of very often. Like, food comes up out of the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope you have a blessed day of rest, of ceasing all your cares and focusing on things that you feel grateful for and things that uplift your spirit. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Shabbat Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.